Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 5 Premium Italian Battleship, Giulio Cesare. It's not released yet. This is a preview build. We've got the work in progress, stats are not final, whole spiel. Overall, what stands out as far as the stats of the ship? Well, it's got 21% torpedo protection, very low total armor. It's got 320mm guns, 10 of them, and they have two gun turrets and two 3-gun turrets. The dispersion is extremely accurate compared to other battleships. 138 is like, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 meters better. And everything else is very, very familiar. The concealment's pretty good, speed's very good, and the rudder is very, very responsive. And there's an example of the accurate guns. 3 Citadels, 100-0 Alba, who was dealing with putting into a friendly, and it was unfortunate for him. Now, I clearly am going to run into an island, but I think 100-0 a target is worth pulling a Notser. So what's the deal with the ship? That's the deal. The accurate guns, the lack of accuracy module that you can equip on the ship. It's very similar to the Americans in that regard, the American battleship line. For those who don't know, you cannot equip accuracy until 9 and 10. What do you equip there? Well, usually you equip AA range. You used to have to use a main battery range module, which is not available to this ship. The only modules that are available in that slot is the AA range, the secondary range, and then the faster turret traverse. But for that accuracy, you give up rate of fire. You will be sitting on your guns waiting for that rearm cycle to come in, so you need to be accurate. But boy, is it accurate. I'm already getting so much damage on these targets, especially the cruisers. I love it. It's like a super heavy cruiser, I've talked about this prior. You could say concealment makes it a cruiser. You could say a bunch of other things make it a cruiser. No, having accurate guns really does allow you to engage targets and maintain that accuracy that you expect, especially down here. The Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5 battleships are notorious for having terrible accuracy. The dispersion, the RNG, the Sigma, whatever you want to call it, it feels poor to control. Not this ship. This ship is very accurate and very fun to play. So, we're engaging targets, waiting on the gun cooldown. That is an issue. I would not speed up the turret traverse. The turret traverse is very quick. I think it's somewhere in the 36 seconds by default. I'm using expert marksman, although maybe I should pick up adrenaline rush because this ship does take a ton of damage. Absolutely a ton of damage. And you'll see this game. Engaging the enemy Nicholas, get a little bit of damage on him. AP sticks in the ship, but not quite able to kill him off. He's able to just barely avoid that shot. And that Emil, the Emil that we were working on previously, is in the background. He's just barely in range, but is an enemy Omaha. And a light cruiser? Hell yeah. I can totally jam with taking out a light cruiser with this ship. 320 is not impressive at all. It's probably the lowest caliber at this tier. Obviously I can't confirm that. But you know what? Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter if the caliber is smaller than the others. If it's that accurate and you could take out all the cruisers in the enemy team. Speaking of taking out enemy cruisers, I'm hoping this will be it. Some people already know what's going to happen. I didn't lead the target enough. It is a French cruiser, so it's probably closer to 35 knots. The dynamic crosshair is calibrated for 30 knots, 1-to-1, so I would need to give more lead when firing on a French cruiser than what I was providing, and eventually, yeah, we draw it out to almost off the screen, and I fire the target. Now, I'm taking damage from the enemy. I am going after the aircraft as they're attacking. I have chosen to buff the AA effectiveness rather than the secondary range or the turret traverse. The turret traverse is just full non-stop. I'm not taking it. It slows down the rate of fire even further. 30 seconds is abysmal for this gun caliber, but it certainly isn't abysmal for the accuracy. Could you imagine if this had 27, 26-second reload for this gun. Oh, we've already had 300 zeros basically, and it just is not going to stop. I am dealing with the aircraft. It's long range, it's a large caliber, it is not very impressive DPS wise, so that's why I went advanced firing training versus the manual AA. I am using my Duca Commander. And you don't have access to an aircraft, so that's something to consider. This is the max range of the guns. You cannot increase it. It is pretty shallow when you compare it to other tier 5 battleships. The Congo has something like 21, you know, just ridiculous range compared to this. You will always be in range of the Congo, and you will have to either use your concealment or just cover the distance with speed. And the speed is fantastic, rudder is really responsive. It's just not really tanky. It really wants to stay back and take advantage of that accurate gun. As you get closer, the rate of fire of battleship guns really does take over, and those Germans really like being close. They don't care that their dispersion's terrible. Doesn't mean anything when you're at 7 or 8 kilometers. Most of the shells are going to hit. So yeah, you want to stay back. And that's the goal in this game, certainly. My goal is just to continue to try and wear down targets that show too much side. And, ooh, an aircraft carrier. Well, we can't pass up an aircraft carrier. Those buggers are so annoying. And that's another thing. You might say, oh, the AA protection you've decided to go is wrong. It starts out very subpar. One of the worst in the game. But the combination of no accuracy module that I can equip in that slot, and honestly, I don't really know that there's other skills I would want to take over AA protection. Plus, there's a hell of a lot of aircraft carriers at tier 4, 5, and 6. These are the tiers where every single game pretty much has an aircraft carrier, and there might be 2 per side. So having good AA protection is not bad. Not bad at all, but you can see how much damage this takes. I'm trying to hold on to put the fire out because I feel the torpedoes incoming. It is very, very vulnerable to fire. Probably more so than the British, and it does not have the British heal that you expect. This really relies on being the last target, not the first target, and it's going to be the first target for a while, let's face it. It's a brand new premium. No one's ever seen it before. They want to shoot the new thing. That's okay. And I'm about to run into the island. It doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter. We took out the aircraft carrier. There's payback for all that damage you were doing. It doesn't really matter how far away from islands I go. I'm always finding a way towards them. So we drop off detection. I'm backing up. I'm hoping that I can survive. You know, I got to heal in 50 seconds. I'm not going to fire my gun, but the enemy certainly wanted to fire when I was spotted, and that son of a... he got his HE to light me up. I think that was a battleship. I don't think there's any ship other than the battleship. I think that is the Queen Elizabeth. And they're still firing at me, even though I'm not detected. So, since I'm basically going to be dying, I still don't know. How did the Fuso hit me? I wasn't detected when he shot me. Yeah, whatever. I can't complain when I do 114,000 damage. We get 3 kills and we get 9 citadels. How often do you see 9 citadels in a battleship at near max range, or 15, 16 kilometers? Not often. Either you're going to overpen, or the dispersion doesn't allow you to take the target out, right? So I think people who can aim effectively, enjoy that aspect of the game, they're going to be rewarded tenfold with this particular Italian battleship. Will this end up being the trait for the Italians? I don't know. If it's successful and feels balanced, I think they'll go full on green light that, because it does feel very rewarding to hit shots and to be that accurate on citadels. Now, I'm sure the cruisers don't like it, because let's face it, the cruisers are the only ones with a really vulnerable citadel that the 320mm guns can really punish. So that is something else to consider. I didn't have any trouble taking out those targets, as you saw. And this is my second game ever playing in the Giulio Cesare. Man, that Cleveland just got absolutely destroyed. He didn't realize that there were 2 sets per side on the Nicholas. I think it's the last American destroyer with that trait. The next one, Farragut, I think it has 1 neutral and 1 per side. And even I was like, what? It's got 2 torpedo launchers per side? Yes, it does, Notser. And yeah. But the team has the ability to win. We still have both our aircraft carriers, and they have 0. That's a big deal. The enemy team should always be spotted, whereas my team should basically be hidden, and we don't need to do anything. The enemy is just going to lose the game if they can't make a play. And the Nicholas was trying to make a play, but clearly we've got an Omaha. We've got from the aircraft carrier who looks like he's trying to drop, but this is tier 5. Let's face it, he's not going to have access to the manual drop. I believe this is a tier 5 game. I think that is the top tier. But Minekaze's got the guns. Just have to wait on the extremely long reload of I think like 7 or 8 seconds. It feels so bad. But eventually it's reloaded. Nicholas is taken out. Apologies for that real quick. Sort of quirk I introduced into the element, but you know, it was just 1 frame or 2. And then here is the remaining enemy ships. Only 3. So the Giulio Cesare, good rudder, fantastic accuracy, almost no armor, very vulnerable to enemy battleship fire, and you've got to accept that you cannot extend your main battery range. So that is something you have to deal with. You will have the least range of any ship, and no, so surely you're missing that there was a range module that you could equip on the ship. No. The only 3 I could use was the secondaries, AA range, and then faster turret traversers, which I didn't need. I didn't need the secondaries because I'm not going to get close to the target. So the only valid one was the AA range, in my opinion. You could try to get close on that ship to other enemies. I will not. I don't think the Italians are secondary focused. And we're just watching these guys as they fire at each other back and forth. If you got any questions for me, just let me know in the comments. I'm always interested in answering them. The video tomorrow will be the Pan-Asian cruiser, and it looks like something like the Perth or the Leander, but it doesn't have access to smoke. So I'm curious how they're going to balance it so a player would want to play it or even purchase it. We'll check that out, and I'll share you the gameplay with that particular ship. But today was the Italians. Hope you enjoyed seeing the Italian. I certainly enjoyed playing it, clearly, and I think the stats will bear that indeed it was worth the experience. And is our friendly gonna win? Yeah, he's gonna survive. So let's check this out. Let's see, what did we earn? Now, keep in mind, I don't earn any achievements because it is an unreleased ship. 114,000 damage done. 1,905 base XP. Okay, well, and we had an AFK Alba the entire time. He's going to regret that game because he didn't get anything for it. 114,000, all AP, by the way. Yeah. It takes a lot of damage. That's one thing I will have to explore more. I hope you enjoyed seeing this first look at the Giulio Cesare today. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.